So, um, good evening, everyone. I welcome you all for today's meeting. And as Bex says, it's not going to be something like we are here to discuss a policy or something. It's the office's accountability meeting. So we're going to start up with Winnie to take the floor and provide us with the update. And then it's going to be your chance to ask her some burning question, as Bex said. So the floor is yours.
Right. Thank you, Katija. Okay, firstly, has anyone read the reports? Come on, be honest if you have or if you have not. Yeah? Okay, I'm glad you did. Okay, for those that haven't read the report, I'm just gonna give you a brief overview of what I have been up to, and what are the things I'm working on. If you have any questions, you can ask after I'm done. Yeah? Yeah, good, good. Okay, perfect. So, firstly, I just wanted to start with, I want you guys to understand that this has been a very different situation than usual. So, what we have promised could be big, big things, but remember that all the things came to halt because of COVID. So, make sure you hold us accountable for things that we should be doing, but also expectations of what we should be doing should not be what we could achieve in a normal situation, because COVID has limited us in a very restricted way. So, just understand that before you hold us accountable for something really big. Okay. Let's start with my campaigns. So the main campaigns that I'm working on is mental health campaign, and I'm also leading on the One Brunel. So under mental health, we actually are focusing really on COVID situation and how COVID has affected a lot of students. So obviously we have a bit of social media campaign that's going to be happening next term, but this term it was more focusing on how we want to make sure, how we want to help our students get those answers that are creating stress for them, giving them those answers, but also ensuring that they have all the services that they need to make sure that the mental health is good. Uh, you can see in my report that various things I have done. So if you want to see in detail about how the campaign is going to look like, you can go into the report and look at it. But one thing that we have done in the union is to ensure that all our frontline people, all our frontline workers, employees are mental health trained. So that was one thing that we're making sure to achieve. I think it's going to happen in January. Our dates for mental health training is booked then. But yeah, that was one thing we did achieve. Moving on, One Brunel. Obviously, One Brunel has been a lot of events, and One Brunel was very evident last year and the year before that. And obviously, One Brunel is my baby. But this year, obviously, everything was more virtual. We did our virtual Diwali where we asked societies to perform. Obviously, we did not have the engagement that we expected, but we did try to do the best we can, trying to do virtual Diwali. We have a lot we're planning for Christmas virtually, but also we're trying to have something that you can, I mean, not an event face to face, but we're trying to do Christmas dinner, something that is not just virtual, something that's tangible as well. But yeah, for under One Brunel, that's about it. Uh, Moving on to social spaces. Social spaces has been something that all students were asking for, and this year there's a lot of limit to how many people could socialize in one space. So the focus was more on the outside social spaces, so outdoor social spaces. So there were a few places located around campuses, and there were some benches put so to increase outdoor spaces. But there is still conversation happening around increasing social spaces after COVID. So there's conversation around how we can have more social spaces in residence and a 24-hour social space as well. But that's all in conversations at the moment. And that's all post-COVID kind of wins at the moment. Um, Laundry. I think since I've been on campus, laundry has been the biggest issue that all students have been always complaining about. And I also know that it is a ridiculously crazy amount of money for laundry. That's like almost £5. So we kind of lobbied the university this year because they're almost ending their contract. So it gives us an opportunity to change the contract with Circuit or replace it. So there's conversations going on around changing Circuit, or if we could get our own free laundry put in place. So there's logistics that people are talking, that the accommodation and residents are kind of gone back and looking into, and we kind of will get a decision probably in the next 2-3 weeks. But yeah, that's one thing that I really want to change. If not change, at least get maybe like 10 laundries free a year or something like that. Something that some kind of free laundry is a must that I'm looking for. And last but not the least, I think COVID. Putting everything aside, COVID has been the biggest, I think, challenge this year for us. And COVID has created the constant change in guidelines, has created a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety in students. And for them to understand them, keep them updated, make sure that they keep on understanding the changes and helping them with their stuff. So we have officer time where we're talking to different, like all of us take different times to kind of go on Instagram, talk to students, ask them for their feedback about what's happening, but also ask them about what they want changed, if they're having any issues, answer their questions. We also have Q&A with the university, which happens almost every alternate week at the moment. And this is basically to ensure that students are aware of their travel restrictions when they're moving, and to ensure that they know exactly what's happening. I think communication is the key in COVID, and that's what we're focusing on, communicating to students everything that's going on, the changes in guidelines, and how we're coping up with it. I think that's about it. I think I'll leave now to you guys to ask any questions you have.
Thank you, Winnie. So now the floor is open for the questions. Anyone want to ask?
On the one for free laundry, what are the alternatives that you're looking at? Are you just looking at getting a new contract with different pricing, or are you looking at different types of services or different types of machinery which will help reduce the cost?
So we are looking at, so there are like, I think at the moment, 2 options we're looking at. We definitely don't want Circuit because I think Circuit has been, even after fixing it, there's been always complaints. So we do not want Circuit. We want them to change. But the first option that we're looking into is having our own laundry system. So the university to have its own laundry system, maybe have a washing machine in every flat. That is our first option that we're looking at. Maybe it will take time, but that's one thing that we are saying that it should happen maybe in the coming future at least. But obviously the logistics of maintaining and managing that is a little hard, and they need to look into it. And the second option is for them to give a cheaper laundry, but also give 10 laundries free a year for maybe a year, or 5 laundries a term, so that students do have that free laundry, but at the same time are paying lesser price for laundry. So those are the 2 options that we're actually looking into at the moment.
I was just curious, like, there's because you do have some Brunel students who have gone into like looking at building their own project of lava, and whether the university may want to almost help them with their Kickstarter and have some of those devices integrated in certain accommodations to reduce prices, just to trial it out, and whether there's other options down those routes, so that the university can also know when, like if you sort out a different type of contract with a different people, like once that contract ends, whether you have a different system in place in which everybody has access to it in their own accommodation as an optional feature, and so they pay for it within the accommodation price and it will be included.
I mean, we can look into it. We're just trying to look into the logistics at the moment. Maybe we can see where the conversation goes, and we can see what decision to make. But at the moment, I think we're just waiting on them to come back to us with logistics of how it would be if they would maintain their own laundry. I think that is our main. We just want them to provide laundry for free. Any other questions?
Hi. I was just gonna, because in a meeting a while ago, they said there would be an Instagram page set up for informal complaints. Is that I just had to check, is that the one with Brunel College?
Is it regarding reps? Is it something regarding academics and informal complaint?
Vinny, is it all right if I answer the question? Because this is the Instagram page for VP colleges. that
Yeah,
you're
I
speaking
think it's not for me. I'm so sorry. I think the question is for another officer. When she speaks, you could ask her if it's okay.
It's a question for Eshna to answer. So Khadija, can you just check back with Eshna when we get round to her, because it's her project?
Yeah, sure. I just have one question for Winnie. Yeah, so given that One Brunel is a society-led campaign, why are you still leading on it?
It's not. So basically, One Brunel has two sides of it. So there's one, the union side. So there are events that union organizes. So there are 3 events that we decided throughout the year. That's Diwali, Christmas, fashion show. Actually, 4: fashion show and a carnival, culture carnival. And these are union led and kind of like bring all societies together. That's one part or one side of One Brunel, and the other side is where societies can come together, like 2-3 society, more than 3 societies have to come together, come up with a project, and then can access the One Brunel fund. So that is the society led part, but there's also the union led part of it, and I'm leading on the union led.
All right, then, thank you. Are there any other questions? If not, we can move on to our next officer. All right, so now I would invite Eshna, because seems like there are some questions for Eshna. So Eshna, would you like to take the floor and provide us with it?
Apologies before I start because I won't be able to switch on my camera today. I have an amazing Wi-Fi in India, and you wouldn't be able to hear me if I switch on my camera, unfortunately. So moving on, I am going to assume that you have gone through the details of the report, and I'm just going to give you an overview like Winnie has done. So starting on with the ongoing campaign that we're working on is Academic Misconduct Campaign. And our ARC manager, Connie, SJ, Winnie, me, all of us have been heavily involved with this campaign. And it is a purely online campaign. And thanks to our lovely communication team, we have content going out on all our social media platforms for it. Plus, we also organized an online session for explaining the academic misconducts through Maths Cafe. We're also liaising with our academic library liaisons to give out more information on these misconducts and how to prevent yourselves from it. I am also working on getting departmental societies for CDEPs, and I have been in contact with the dean and the senior operations manager for more funding. And recently in the Student Rep Congress, I also asked the student reps for some ideas and feedback on getting these departmental societies into place. So, and they were happy to be involved in this, and this would be added to their job role, hopefully with the help of a student voice manager. And apart from this, I am heavily focused on getting student reps more engaged this year. And the lovely student reps have also agreed on holding online Zoom study sessions for CDEP students. So basically, you know how everyone's feeling very overwhelmed and not being able to study at home, not getting motivated to study at home. These Zoom study sessions will be organized for students to drop in weekly, like once a week, basically, so that anyone can just come in, get motivated to study through our student reps. And yeah, improve themselves, basically. I will also be speaking to the HODs over December to get help from the academics on this front as well, to have that informal relationship with the students. Apart from that, coming back to the Instagram page for academic updates and official complaints, that was the question that was being asked. So the VPCs have come together with the help of our comms team to establish an Instagram page for these academic updates and complaints. We are still working on developing a Google page, Google document for everyone to come in and give us an anonymous feedback on that Instagram page. And it would be up and running hopefully soon. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Apart from that, we're also working on safety on campus, which is our priority. And this campaign has unfortunately been pushed to get up and running in January, because we still have to restructure it around the stuff, around the incidents that have been taking place, like recent incidents. So our LGBTQ+ officer is going to be meeting with the head of Department of Security to get more data and work around the recent events, basically. I hope everything makes sense.
All right, and with that, Ishna's update comes to an end. So if there are any questions, you guys can ask Ishna. Anyone? Seems like, okay, we have
All
one.
right. I think it's really good that we are trying to improve our virtual experience, but I think the students are expecting on-campus experience. So how are we gonna tackle this in coming future, like study sessions? How we can do that? Are we doing anything for them?
I just want you to elaborate more on your question. You want a better platform for students to get face-to-face group study sessions instead of online. Is
Yeah,
that
because
your question?
students expect something on campus. That's good that we are trying to improve the virtual experience. So as the lockdown is going to end, so is there any activity, any creatives that we can focus on, so that they can have some sort of on-campus experience and they can study in groups?
That is definitely a conversation we can have with the university, but with lockdown, I don't think that is possible at the moment. Maybe in January, that's something we could look into if the government guidelines allow us.
Can I pitch in?
Yeah.
We already spoke about this, the fact that like students asked for group studies spaces, but the fact is that the guidelines say you cannot do it. And if the government says you cannot do it, we cannot provide spaces, we cannot encourage it. It's against the law. So we're literally just waiting on the guidelines. If the guidelines allow us, you will have a lot of space to have group studies. We'll have like a lot of area, but then until then, there's nothing we can do, basically.
I think there was a rule of 6 before the lockdown, and after this Wednesday there will be a rule of 6. So shouldn't we promoting that as well, that people can make small groups and on the campus?
We're not.
Up and running, if I'm not wrong, and I'm pretty sure you can come in and have those group study sessions in the library, if that's what you mean.
Because we need, I think it's a union responsibility to tell them that and how they can have a better experience, because we need to inform them, communicate, tell them.
That is definitely something we will be working on over winter to get that better communication through our students. So don't worry about it. We're
I
working
think
on.
sorry, it has to do something with their mental health as well. Because if they are not having the experience they were expecting, it's going to ultimate, it is affecting mental health of students?
In terms of mental health, we are speaking to student well-being, Raven Pratt, who is managing student well-being, to organize some help during weekends for students in case they have any difficulties, and to see if we can provide more facilities over the holidays as well. Maybe just letting students know what kind of helplines they can call if they're feeling too overwhelmed or too anxious. And in terms of the social spaces and getting that student experience on campus, definitely the university is committed to increasing campus activity, like Craig has stated in the chat. But it is dependent on the government guidelines as well. With the rule of 6, we are going to be looking into what kind of facilities we can provide the students, and those are the conversations we will be having, and it will be advertised during winter break, if that's okay.
Okay, fair enough.
I think Connie has her hand.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to elaborate. I think, sorry, this camera angle is weird, but I'm trying to keep the light on, keep my camera. So I think we're all like, everyone everywhere is aware that students aren't having the experience that they desire. And this is something students knew, because with COVID, we're never going to be able to have the same experience as we used to have. And I think we're putting out as much as we can, but what students need to realize is we can't help them break the rules. We can't encourage them to go meet friends outside of their household right now because we're in a lockdown. And when people could meet in groups of 6, we were giving them the facilities. Locus was open more hours, not more hours, but it was open and people could go in and study and not purchase anything. We're giving them the facilities and the study spaces in our areas. And I think we're providing as much as we can. Sports clubs were running within government guidelines, and I'll get to that when it's me. But I do think like there is very limited stuff on what we can do and what we can push, and students need to realize that, because it is a losing battle, because we're fighting with a pandemic that has never been done before. I kind of tripped on my words there, but I think we got the point. But yeah.
Yeah, right. I can see that the Locus was, it was running, and there were activities every week. And also there were many tester sessions, the sports. I was part of sports activities as well. So it was something that kept me going for me as well. So, I'm not sure, I need to ask about what are the Christmas plans, because I'm not sure if the questions are supposed to be, I'm supposed to be asking to Winnie or now.
Well, that was for Winnie, but we're gonna kind of now stick to Eshna's bit, and
We can
stick-
go back.
yeah, it can go later on. So I have a question for
Or
Eshna.
you can direct it to Connie as well. Connie, like we all kind of work together. So Connie knows as well. So you can direct it to Connie.
All right, fair enough.
So one question for Eshna. As you're talking about the academic misconduct campaign, why is that so that the union is kind of focusing on it? Isn't that something the university should be doing instead and focusing on?
The union is focusing on this particularly this year is because everything's gone online, and it is very essential for our students to know that since everything's gone online, it is going to be different, but the misconducts are going to be the same. The university is focusing on it in their own ways, and we are planning to work with the university from January onwards before exams, so that we can get a better thing in place for our students to be aware of the facilities and avail them to prevent any misconducts happening.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions for Eshna before we move on to the next officer? All right, that I assume no questions. So now I'd like to invite SJ to provide us with the update.
Cool. Hi guys. Hopefully won't keep you too long with this. So just a few points really. Obviously a lot of the stuff that I started last year has been completely put on hold with everything going on. That's not an excuse for us not doing stuff as such. I think the big thing that we've done this term, especially me, is the rep system, and that opportunity for reps to basically put themselves out there and learn more about what it is to be a rep before they become a rep effectively. So within the College of Health, Medicine and Life Sciences, I basically put it out there for students to apply for the role, and I think it's worked well. I think some of the reps are here now. They can tell me if they think it has. And I think the best thing we had with our rep congress, which we had afterwards, was it really raised a lot of points for myself to be working on, and also for us as an entire officer team to be working on. And the biggest point that came from that is online learning and blended learning, and whether it's working. So I'm dedicating a lot of my time now to getting as much information as I can to present to university to say, is this isn't working or this is working. So yeah, that's probably the biggest thing right now that I'm working on. And I think, we're working on getting together a student handbook, and what this student handbook is going to do is it's going to give students all the information they need. So if you want to find out who your personal tutor is, who, just any information on your course is hopefully going to be there. And this is something that I'm going to tap into with the reps to ask them what they think should be there also. And I think, yeah, that's really the main points. If there's any questions, then fire away.
Thank you, SJ. So now the floor is open for questions.
Would that handbook be just a fresher thing, or would it be introduced to second years?
No, so what it is I can actually I can find it now, and I put it in the chat. What it is it allows you guys within, I don't know if all the colleges have it at the moment, but within our college, what it does is it means that you'll open up to a homepage. That homepage will have all the different courses. You click on that, and then from there, it gives you a lot of FAQs, where to find your rep, where to find your lecturers. So it's for everyone. So if there's still questions, I find myself in my fifth year still sometimes not knowing where to find certain people. So yeah, that's it really. But yeah, I'll put the link. I'll try and find the link now, and I'll put it in the chat.
Just one question with the system, because there's a lot of information within the university, like even just going onto the university website itself and getting, like, let's say your student reps details and all of this kind of stuff, it can be quite a large task to take a hold of, especially having to renew it every single year. Or let's say a teacher, or like a lecturer or some of your reps go down, and then you have to change the information. How are you looking at keeping it up to date whilst keeping it very efficient? Because it's quite easy to have all the information, but making it an efficient system is quite difficult.
So Jason, this is about the rep handbook, right? Yes, so not the rep handbook, the student handbook. So it's already, and I mentioned this when I saw it earlier today as well, was that it needs to be a collaboration, because there's going to be information we might not know that the university knows, and vice versa. So I saw, for example, with sports science, they've said the postgraduate, divisional lead is this person, and I know for a fact that that's now changed. So I get where you're coming from, and that might be something that we really need to look into, is how do we make sure that is constantly up to date, because university is constantly changing. Half the lecturers that were there when I was a student aren't there anymore. But yeah, no, that's definitely something I'll keep in mind with it.
How are you going to advertise it as well to students? So because I know when I came, because I'm second year now, and I know coming to this university, I didn't even get the thing that was supposed to come into the post. I didn't get that much information. I was just sort of turned up on the day. I was like, hi, I'm here. What am I supposed to be doing? And I just want to know, what kind of way are you going to be advertising this student handbook so that everybody knows about it?
So I think, first of all, it's important to know what is the best way to communicate with you guys as students. So the question is how would you like to, how would you like to have it? With email? Is it through our social medias? And these we can cover all of them. I don't think there's any issue of us putting it on our social media, and that's something we can look into. Obviously through emails is, it's your student emails is there. But yeah, I mean, it's generally just in general, like how would you want to see it as well?
Cool. Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and it's a really big project, and like I really commend you for like taking it on and coming up with it. Because I don't know, I'm just looking at all the stuff you're gonna have to do behind it, and all the research and advertising and developing of it, and trying to integrate it in. And yeah, I think if you do a poll of some kind, because I know a lot of people like social media based, but also having it in your emails, it's always there. And so no, that's interesting though. Thank you. So yeah.
All right. Moving on. Are there any other questions for Sam before I ask one? Guys, this is your chance to ask your officers, so don't be shy. I assume no one is asking. I'm gonna ask. So Sam, since most of your campaigns are really, and projects are really college focused, what are you doing for like academic, to address academic and welfare across the universities? And are you leading on any union campaign, to be specific?
Yeah, so the way I've kind of approached a lot of the college-based stuff is that my end goal with it all is for it to not be just this college. Basically what I've done is I've used our college as like the guinea pig to see if these work, and if they do work, is something that I want to propose to the other colleges. With the campaign side of things, obviously, the Ash and Vinny both said that mental health campaign I think is the one that we're all really, really working on. And I think it's by far the most important campaign this year, and it's important in general. But I think that plan is starting to come it's starting to come to light, and I think that is going to be a campaign, especially in second term, that I think is just going to be brilliant. And even now with stuff that Connie's done with the Festival of Lights and stuff like that, it's starting to come together. And I think I'm excited for what we can do with the second term.
All right, so Avi, thank you. So since there are no more questions for SJ, I would like to invite Connie to provide us with the updates, and so that we can ask her some questions.
Sorry, Khadija, my bad. I interrupted you.
It's okay now.
I've got bullet points. I hate everything to do with writing, so I'm just going to run through everything bullet point wise. I also have my CTQs ready, which are not on my reports, but will be because they're now written on paper, which means I just need to transfer them. I've done the hard part. So very quickly, starting back in September, and then in no particular order because my brain works in very weird ways, I met with all the clubs and got them all to fill out a return to play form, and met with them to make sure that activity was all good to go. So they were running in term one. We had many meetings with the university and with societies themselves to see what activity societies could do and how we could aid them in that. With societies as well, me and the societies administrator restructured cases in order to get more interest from societies for them to apply. So hopefully that will be successful this year. We've also started looking at new Team Brunel kit. The money's been harvested away, so we're not financially, it's all a-okay. So that's an exciting thing to look forward to. As it's been mentioned before, I worked on the Diwali fairy lights. So we got them delivered. I personally put them outside people's rooms, all in PPE, contact-free delivery, so people could get Diwali lights in time because lockdown happened. Social sports, I carried on from our last BPSA. We've got all of our social sports equipment ready to go. We're just waiting for states to install them, and I've chased that. So just waiting for a reply. So virtual events, I helped as well in our student activities department, what virtual events we should put on and how to get engagement from our clubs and societies and from just students who aren't in clubs and societies. I started Let's Cook, which is a campaign that you guys can read about in my reports. But in Let's Cook, there's 12 days of Cookmas, which is something I'm working on before Christmas. And it's going to be 12 recipes, easy recipes that students can make so they can, if they can't go home, or if they go home, they can cook with their families. I'm involved in the RA's Brunel's Got Talent. I help them pick prizes and choose judges, and I'm one of the judges as well. So that's something to look forward to as well. I'm a part of the anti-racism interviews. So the university is hiring an anti-racism officer as a human, and I'm in the interview panel as I've been heavily involved throughout the process. So that's quite exciting as well to see that come through. I'm working with the student services and with the mental health group on a mental health working group, myself and Ishna, so that we can tie in and know what resources are available and just kind of ease communication. For Christmas, and I think this ties in, I'm looking at, not me, as a group, we're looking at getting every flat that requires them a group of Santa hats and party crackers. So we encourage them having a dinner with their flats because that is within the government guidelines as you are a household. We've also been involved in officer takeovers, and I think the rest is all on my reports. Hope that was concise enough. Any questions?
Yes, I mean, you're within time, so we're done. Yeah, so now the floor is open to questions. Please ask some questions.
So is Brunel's Got Talent going to be online?
Yeah, so we've received 12 submissions. I now have to judge them, you know, me, a professional judge. And I get to pick my favorites, and then it will all be posted virtually. We're still going through the processes, but I will keep everyone updated as well as our social medias. So that's quite exciting. Thank you for your question.
Any other questions?
Does that answer your question about what we're kind of planning for Christmas? We're also going to give out hot chocolate, but we're not really sure on logistics wise. Vinny's working mainly on that, you know, so.
All right, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Are we putting some lights or Christmas tree around the campus?
So there is currently already a Christmas tree up next to the IAC.
I did not see that.
No, yeah, I only heard about it because I've been in isolation, but you know, excited to come see it.
Also, we have Christmas dinner.
Yeah, Vinny's working on Christmas dinner as well with Chartwells.
All right,
University actually.
fair enough.
We have a virtual Christmas tree as well for students who are going to be self-isolating, just a heads up.
Self-host.
You can just put in your
Okay.
wishes, or if you want to decorate, you can just decorate something and send it over in an email address. It's going to be all set up soon, so our comms team will deliver it to you.
Yeah, and we have the best decorated room competition for Christmas. So guys, come on, take your stuff and start decorating, yeah? Send it in.
Any other?
Are these Santa hats and crackers and things going to be free?
Yeah, so we're going to put out an interest form so that we don't bulk order too much and we don't have like extra Santa hats lying around because we're kind of conscious of waste and stuff. But your flats, as a flat, you can apply for a party pack, and the party pack will include free crackers and free Santa hats. So hopefully that's done soon. The form is meant to be done today and go out today or tomorrow. So I'll be on the lookout.
On the front with the sports side, so like I also noticed the project of like the skill can and that's happening in January. Are you planning for like if we go back into lockdown, and are you planning for if we're out of lockdown? And let's say we're out of lockdown, I know I'm part of the Brunel Weightlifting Society, and we haven't been able to run any sessions yet because the IAC has been refurbished, and then the room that they set up still had to go through health and safety stuff as we're going back into lockdown. I was just wondering, like, how will it be run, especially alongside everything?
Yeah, so sorry. So if we're still in lockdown, obviously, or if we're back in lockdown, the classes are going to have to be online, and we're going to have a lot of female tailored online sessions with different stuff you can see on the spreadsheet. In regards to the IAC, we've been told it should be done by December completely, so open in January, up and running, which means the weightlifting club can go back in, which means we're going to have more spaces at the gym because most athletes who are now training in the IAC and the sports center will transfer to the ISD, and hopefully everything will run a little bit more smoothly, even though it's still going to have to be on a booking system. And yeah, I believe ventilation is now sorted in everything, because squash also had an issue. Their courts were being used as storage and they didn't have ventilation, but we've had an email that's a-okay to start to go ahead. So in January, hopefully, fingers crossed, everything's back to normal-ish.
All right. How much I miss Sean in this meeting with his fiery questions. But anyways, I've got a question for you, Connie. So talking about the Let's Cook campaign, why is it of value to our student, and considering the current situation in this pandemic, don't you think that there should be other campaigns that you should be focusing on more?
I think you should do what you're passionate about, and that's reflected when I think I speak about Let's Cook. You see that I'm very enthusiastic about how it's run, and I really want it to be something from the students to the students. That brings people a little bit of joy, and you can't really take that away from students. We've seen that societies are really keen to get involved. We've had the Italian Society do a risotto, and they were super happy that their recipe was on there and people were doing it and people were sharing it. So I think whatever brings a little bit of joy, we should keep going. It doesn't mean that I'm not focusing on other things. I'm helping all the other officers as well in the mental health campaign. I've been helping in the academic misconduct, and really with a world where we're so limited in things, I think nothing is too much.
Just add on, I think her Let's Eat campaign has kind of integrated into all the campaigns. For example, with mental health, we kind of have a link between eating well and mental health, and she's kind of providing healthy recipes. So the campaign that she's doing is kind of tying in with the other campaigns as well. And this year, all campaigns are kind of tied in, integrating, kind of correlating each other, because we do not want to duplicate things. And I think she just took food, because food is something that she's really keen on, and the way she's using food to integrate into every other campaign actually makes her campaign pretty great. So I do not think it's not relevant. Anyone that thinks that food is irrelevant, I do not think that's right.
I wasn't saying it's not relevant. It was just that I wanted to know what's her take on the campaign, which is
Yeah, it's a fair question. I think I gave a fair answer though.
Yeah, you did. In terms of that, what are you doing to support the clubs and societies in delivering their activities this year, given that they have to do things in a different manner this year?
So one of the biggest things, I think, because I was volleyball chair for 2 years, is honesty, just kind of being honest with the situation. So we're having bi-weekly catch-ups with committees where we update them on where we're at. This is what the government guidelines say, and here is what we're going to do. And this is mainly for sports clubs because they were more active. And we kept them on track with track and trace, and with supporting wherever we can, even though they're student-led clubs. So with clubs, we've done that. And with societies, we've just kind of been pushing and giving them platforms for them to display their society, because unfortunately societies do get a little bit less recognized because it's not such a universal thing. It's not necessarily that they go out and do X, Y, and Z, but they can have meet and greets online, which people aren't aware. So we're pushing out their meet and greets on our social media pages. We're giving them chances to do takeovers and just be able to expand their society, even because at the end of the day, it's always going to be beneficial to other students who don't know about it yet.
Fair enough. Thank you. Yeah, okay.
Where do those takeovers happen?
On Brunel students, I believe the next society we're having a day in a life takeover, and a Let's Cook is the Life Science Society, because they were the ones who shown interest in it. But yeah, if you have a society and are interested in it, just message me or Steph, not Steph, society's administrator, sorry, and we'll never do that again. And yeah.
All right, thank you, Connie. Are there any other questions? If not, Now it's the turn of our Environment and Ethics Officer, Sajni. Would you like to take the floor and provide us with the update? Yeah. I see Sajni there. Hello. Because I can see Sajni is there with us in the meeting.
Maybe she's having some technical issues. Just move on to the next officer. Maybe you can come back to me.
All right. So our women's officer, Sanjana, would you like to take over? Here we go. We can't hear you, Sanjana. I mean, I can't. I think it's going to be the same for everyone, I guess.
Yeah, I can't hear that either.
Okay, yep. Sanjana, would you like to?
You might want to change your input, Sanjana, if you're having problems. If you just go to your mic and have a look at what your input is. Just
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, can you hear me now, Khadija? If you can. Yes,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah.
So currently my report would be not being seedable because I have sent my report a bit late, but apologies for that. And actually my report is about the network supporting group that we had, that is like a group where we all students, we girls, or like all students of the university come together and have a chat about their issues and everything in the uni, in the Zoom meeting. And the issues are like mental health and discriminations if they are facing any discrimination in the university. So these network supporting group are for those people who can like I ask them, if you are having any issues, we can solve them and you can just let me know. So currently, during the meeting, all students were new to the university, so they were not having any discriminations or any issues regarding the university problems or anything. So I didn't get any issues to be solved. So they just asked me about to make a platform for mental health that would be useful for them. That could be like, if I have any issues, then I can go through the procedure and what can be helpful for me through going through the procedure and everything like that. So I have put that into account with all the liberation officers to take in, and we can discuss about this issue and make a platform for the people, and we can talk about it, and we can make a platform which could be useful as a website on a union page, and which can be useful for everyone else, that if you can't go in face to face and talk to the security, there would be a website that would be useful for you guys, that would be making be like freely for everyone to have a chat with the security in the website. So that's it. And other than that, I'm being taking part in the January. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can.
okay. Yeah. And for the Christmas, I'm gonna send a for the Christmas, actually, I'm doing a campaign of Girl Inactive. So that's gonna be like having a boot camp for girls, and also a boot camp is like exercise and all that stuff to make her active and then relax. I'm having a 2-week campaign. So one is an active, and second is second week is about the relaxing. So the relaxation is about staying calm and watching movie and wearing a face mask, and we are going to have a Zoom meeting and we're going to have a chat with each other and watch the movie. So that's what I'm doing for the Christmas. Any questions?
How can we access that boot camp? How can we access that boot camp?
You've muted yourself again.
Yeah, can you please repeat? I think I can't.
Oh, sorry, can you hear me?
I'm having some. Yes. Okay.
Should I type it in the chat?
Yeah, shove it in the chat.
Okay.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah. So no more questions for Sunday?
The access with the bootcamp is through Team Brunel website, which is an app. You go through the app and you have. So this is going to be by Brunel posting it as a page, and then you can click on the link and you can just apply. It's going to be a Zoom meeting. So I'm going to talk to the bootcamp professional. Have you attended the bootcamp before? No. So the bootcamp is held in the Isambard studio every Thursdays, and you can attend that. And it's like a normal session, so 15 people are allowed. You can have a normal training. So it's like exercise thing that you can go into the gym, and it's like a 1 hour big session. So you can go through. I'm actually providing a Zoom meeting, and then you can go through the website, which is going to be held on the page of Brunel. So you can click on the website and then you can literally, okay. Yeah.
All right. Sajni has her hand up, I guess. Is there, do you want to ask any questions?
Khadija, I can't hear. Can you just put that in the chat so I can answer you if you're asking me any questions?
There's a question about why is it a girls' boot camp and not a guys' one as well.
So the inequality campaigns are going to be held in March. So that's going to be the 3rd week of the Women's Month, and it is going to be held for the whole week. So we are going to have a sexual assault one, then we are going to have the sexual. So that's like a day 1, day 2, day 3. So it's going to be a whole week about talking about the whole sessions, and there are going to be a lot of different speakers who are going to talk about it. So that's going to be in March. And okay.
Khadija, could I take the Movember question?
Yeah, I was just.
Yeah, sure.
So I mean, it's a little bit unfortunate. Like there hasn't been a whole deal. We have made posts and we have spoken to our clubs about getting their club members to raise money and grow mustaches or grow hair in aid of Movember. We also are having a quiz night this week in aid of Movember where you can donate. Like donations are optional if you want to enter, and then you can win a prize at the end if you win the quiz. We also have a facial hair competition going on where we'll have boys, men send in their facial hair, and then again I get to judge. I love judging people. I'm sorry, that was a joke. Laugh. And then they get a little prize that says Movember winner, Movember curliest mustache, blah 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 blah. Our rugby team has done especially well. They've raised over £1,500 with their internal Movember, which then will, I mean, ultimately wasn't raised by us, but we are hopefully channeling the right energy towards them and giving them the right platform to do so. Hope that answers it more or less. Yes. Okay. Goodbye, everyone, again.
Thank you, Connie, for answering that. Are there any other questions for Sanjana? I suppose no. So, okay, since Sajni is back here with us, I would like to invite Sajni to take over.
Hi, sorry about before, like my phone was playing up. So with regards to the Liberation Group, I had a meeting with them last week and it was really positive. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get people within the Liberation Group to create small clips with regards to upcycling clothes or upcycling anything they have really around the house. I'm also working with a small sustainable startup company called Bide Boxes. So what we're trying to do is trying to encourage more students to write blogs. So I myself have written a sustainability blog that's going to be published on their website and helping 2 more other students out. The blogs are basically about Brunel overall, how we can improve our sustainability awareness and what we can do to encourage more people to be sustainable. Also, I had a meeting with the campaigns coordinator. So what we're trying to do is incorporate the environmental cups into locos. So we're just trying to see where that goes at the moment due to COVID, obviously. I'm also working on another project with a second-year student who's trying to see if we can install refill stations into Costcutter, so to reduce the overall plastic waste they have there. And that's mainly it. Did anyone have any questions?
Any questions for Sajni?
Could I ask, you're saying about refill stations in, what did you say, was it in Costcutter or Locos, did you say?
In Costcutter.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering, like, why would you find it better to have refill stations inside Costcutter, or would it be better to have another business like this, like a refill business already, to come up into the university and set up a small shop at our university instead? Just as a question.
Oh, so I didn't really think about it like that. But one of the students that I've been talking to said that she's been in contact with a company who actually specifically does refill stations. And we're trying to see if Costcutter would incorporate that into the store they have right now. So it wouldn't just be Costcutter, it would also be the refill stations from another company. But I haven't really thought about that idea. Probably I could take that on into consideration if Costcutter don't necessarily allow us to have it in their store. But yeah, thanks for that idea.
Also with so let's say like with food waste and general sustainability, like that kind of way, because I do notice that there is becoming a lot more improvement in like recycling areas and all that. I was wondering with food waste, where does it get taken to? Because you can have also a lot of biodegradable like cutlery and stuff, which isn't actually biodegradable, and it's not able to go into compost heaps. And how like biodegradable cups and stuff, how that will be dealt with, and where is food waste going to at the moment within the university?
So I haven't really looked into the food waste. I know that we partner with Grundens, but I'm not sure where it ends up going. Like, do they incinerate it? Does it go straight into landfill? Do they use it for other things like compost? But with regards to, did you say like disposable cups?
Yeah, so like biodegradable, like so you can have more like biodegradable cups and like cutlery and plates. A lot of them do say like they are biodegradable, but they're not biodegradable in your compost heap. They have to be specially taken by a company through that process, because if you put it into your compost, it may actually cause more harm than good. I was just wondering like where you're taking that stance and where you're going to probably get some of the biodegradable cups and cutlery and stuff, and how you're going to put it forward.
I haven't really thought about introducing biodegradable items within Locos, because I know that Locos currently have their cutlery, their plates, their knives and forks that they continuously wash. My plan was to incorporate a reusable cup instead of the plastic cups that they currently have. But I can try and find out, like, if we do try and incorporate a biodegradable cutlery or plate system, what company would be willing to take it, how would it work alongside Grundens that we currently have, and where can we go from there?
All right. I've got a question for you,
Can
Sajni.
I just pop in there, Chair?
Yeah,
Just
sure.
'cause there was a few questions that I know that I was present for in exec the other day. So Sajni raised on the agenda in exec about locos and the venue and their equipment. Now, quite a few of the staff are taking part in the NUS trade show, which is upcoming in a few days' time, and they've actually got a section of that trade show that's dedicated to sort of reusable and biodegradable products and how we can become more sustainable within our venues. And we're hoping that that's going to allow the staff to sort of come back to us with a lot of ideas for what we can do. I think, as Sajni rightly said, we're not necessarily looking at biodegradable, because biodegradable, as you rightly pointed out, in a lot of cases is not biodegradable. It actually tends to be quite poisonous unless it's dealt with in the right way. So the investigation is to see what products that we can use to try and address our own environmental strategy. So there is some investigation going on into that, and I'm hoping that early new year, when we have another meeting, we should have some good updates for the direction that we're moving in. But I was present for that meeting, so I didn't want you to miss out on the update.
Thank you, Bex. Coming back to my question for Sajni. So how are you going to ensure that your allotment plans are sustainable and it doesn't lose the traction just like the B project?
Okay, so what we're trying to do right now is firstly trying to establish where is the allotment and what can we specifically do with it, because I know that there are meetings in place with regards to rebuilding the allotment and just like restarting it all over again. So my plans are to, if the allotment is to be rebuilt, then I will put plans in place to ensure that people, well, the next officer will be able to like continue on the project. If not, we also have the Sustainable Cup Challenge. This also ensures that people are making aware that, know the fact that they can grow things, they can upcycle things, and they can do this within their own homes. But ultimately, of course, we don't want anything that happened to the bees to happen again. So I just want to put, if I can't do anything physically, I just want to put the paperwork in place to ensure that the next person can do something about it, and ensure that when we write in our reports what we want the next person to do, that would be their ultimate aim.
Fair enough, thank you. If there are no more questions for Sajni, we're going to move on to Jade, if you would like to take over.
Could I quickly just ask a question with for Sajni? I was just curious, like with the allotments, because I remember speaking to someone and they say they used to grow quite a lot of food at Brunel University like years and years ago. I was just wondering, like, especially just for someone to like think about and everything, if you think about like if the allotments are able to be like rebuilt and like actually have some sort of places for food to be grown and everything, wouldn't there be a point to get students involved to help take care of their bit if they are wanting to be part of, like, let's say, like the environment and want to be able to get access to the food whilst being able to take care of it without having to put any more plate rolls up for people to be paid to look after these areas, and use the students and societies to help aid the development of it?
Okay, I think that's a really good idea. So I had a meeting with my Liberation group last week, and they are keen in physically helping out. And when COVID is over, they'll be able to come out and help us on campus and doing it. So that's students physically engaging. And I've also got societies coming up to me saying, oh, okay, when COVID is over, we will be able to help you. So it is a student-led campaign in a way, and I don't really aim to hire more members of staff to complete this.
With that, I'd like to invite Jade now to take over and provide us with an update. If she's here. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hi. Hope everyone's well. Good afternoon, or good evening rather. So yeah, just like the other liberation officers, I have also had a network liberation group a couple of weeks ago, and I told them about some of the campaigns that I am working on, including Pride Month, trans policy and LGBT equality, and pronoun inclusion. But the big takeaway from the meeting was actually the fear and misrepresentation that security has on campus, or appeared to be. So I'm having a meeting with security tomorrow, and have been in conversation with other members of staff about sorting out the ways and the process in which you can report such hate crimes and how they can be prevented. So we'll be looking at how security are trained and just hold them to account, basically what they have in place to protect the LGBT community on campus. There has unfortunately been a new rise on hate crimes, which is also going to be linked into this. So I'm going to hopefully be working with other societies and just give them the opportunity to call out members of their society who have homophobic or just horrible views in general that can affect anyone's experience at Brunel. On a lighter note though, for Pride Month, I am getting in touch with events and things we can do COVID permitting. I'm not really sure what they are yet, but I have talked to John Blower and stuff like that to provide music for some of the events we could do. We'll also want this year to honour gay events that we have done in the past, not at Brunel, but as our gay history. So this includes balls. So this is that involves like categories, walk downs, like making costumes and stuff like that. So that will be good to boost up the community after all the security issues that we've had this year. And then I'm just working on ID badges and including pronouns on them to make the pronoun inclusion on campus better. So there you go. So oh yes, sorry. And on Christmas, I'm going to be releasing a couple posts to help students when they go back home, and if they're in a anti-LGBT home or town when they do go home, posts and groups for them to contact if they do feel alone of Christmas, which no one should feel. So there you go.
Thank you, Jade. Questions for Jade, please? Why is no one asking questions? Please.
Thanks, guys. I mean, even if it's anything, ask like my favorite color or something, please.
What's your favorite color?
Green. Thank you. It is the superior color, as you can see behind me.
All right. Let me ask you a question, Jade. So what events are you prioritizing for LGBT History Month this year?
So I think the ball takes pride in place over everything, because it will give the necessary to cheer up people after COVID and the security issues that we have focused on, and it'll give them an opportunity to finally celebrate who they are after this drag of a year. So we'll have different events, like maybe a Lady Gaga impersonator. I personally do drag, so we're having drag competitions, lip syncs battles, all these things. If you don't know what they are, please message me, because they can be confusing what a lip sync battle and something like that is. And yeah, it's just focusing on how to celebrate us as a community, because Pride was based as a protest. So I think we need to reiterate the education as well behind LGBT issues. And yeah, just having a good time. We all need one.
All right, thank you. Fair enough. Any other question for Jade? Guys, this is your time. Ask questions. Anything.
Is there anything in which you're going to be putting up around the university itself to sort of raise more normality around it, just generally? Like probably just putting up some posters, or just some, like, I don't know, just some kind of almost effectively advertising, just to make it seem a lot more normal in life, and not really having it as shocking. So I feel like, especially now, a lot of people are in lockdown, and that everyone's isolating and everything. People end up almost feeling like it's not normal, and get caught up in, let's say, like their flatmate's views. And let's say if the flatmate was like really hated drag and everything, and you can be influenced a lot more into someone's viewpoint that way. So is there any way of like advertising to make it a lot more normal, making it seem a lot more, okay, no, it's not different, like we're all just being happy here?
I mean, yeah, I would love to work on leaflets and posters and stuff like that. It's just since I've been attending Brunel, every single year our posters have been ripped down. We've had homophobic like graffiti posted on them and stuff like that. So we're trying to work on different ways where we can, as you say, like normalize what it is to be LGBT and those views that people share. I think that's why I'm trying to focus on the issues that some societies have in like WhatsApp groups, because they're not being held accountable for the views that could possibly harm someone. But yeah, we've had before like putting up the gay pride flag, and for the bisexuality day, we had little like knitted like little bi flags as well. So I think if something like that could come back in, especially for Pride Month, it would be really positive. And if there's lots of them, no one's going to go around and rip down every single one. They can try, but we'll just put more up. So
Yeah, just as an idea, maybe like having some kind of decor in like logos or something that's sort of like very more like colorful and just very like different, and which sort of stands for like the LGBTQ, but without it being able to be like demolished, or like be taken down, because it's part of, let's say, the furnishings and stuff, and having it a lot more like, look, it's a part of us in essence, like I don't know, like a seat that's like, it's like the same as all the others, but like it's made to be like to represent like the LGBTQ and like bi and all that kind of stuff, and try and look into sort of more furnishings maybe.
Yeah,
which
I'll
would be
definitely
interesting.
yeah, I'll definitely look into that, and yeah, I'll tell you next time at the Officer Accounts Committee. I'll get it done for you then, and we'll talk about it then. So yeah, thank you.
All right then, thank you, Jade. Moving on, Tariq, can you just take over, and so that we can further proceed? If we have Tariq over here with us. Yes, I can see he is.
Hi.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. Okay.
So I just recently got elected to my position. Last week I had a focus group with Chloe. There were like 15 people supposed to come, but like in the end, like only one showed up because there was no follow-through email for the focus group. But we didn't talk much over there, but we did like speak about some things like a platform where people can like talk about their issues, like how I think we're supposed to have a liberation meeting sooner or later, which Chloe is supposed to be holding or something. But yeah, I want to talk about that platform where people can talk about stuff which troubles them, and not much. I was quite occupied with my proposal and other things. So, oh, sorry about that. But yeah, anything else, like any questions which I could have, like I didn't do much throughout this period.
That was quite precise. So any questions for Tariq?
Can I just ask, what area are you exactly focused on? I didn't really get it. I had my computer Wi-Fi went out. Like, what area are okay?
So basically, like me and one of the other person in the focus group was talking about if imagine a situation where someone has been like racial claimed or some harassment or some because of their color or some reason. I need where could people go to inform this or like do something about it, or what can be the, even if there's someone held accountable for this, what are the consequences which will be held on them? So we didn't go into details because it was like there were not a lot. There's just me and another person. We couldn't talk much in detail about it, but that's what we came through. That's where I said the meeting should be held up so we can talk about it in more. But there are other things also which I would want to talk about, but I need some time because I have to go through the meetings. Yeah.
All right. I'll ask you a question because no one is asking. So your manifesto mentioned tackling racism on campus. How do you plan to do it?
So tackling racism on campus, as I said, like we are talking about the platform where we can talk about stuff and like people can come through and do that. And not tackling racism, but like, yeah, in a way that I saw that there's not as much as diversity within the union. And that's one of the things I also want to look at. And there are more things which I have to write up on because I can't just talk about it just right now, but I will write some notes and email you if you want me to.
Sure. Any other question for Tariq, guys? If not, we'll just move on to Aaron. Would you like to take over?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
So my main project is maximum international students involvement and engagement. So the last report I submitted, I actually wanted to do a football tournament to start with, but it didn't happen. And I was thinking this year, Christmas is coming and international students are here. People who came for the first time, they are staying away from home for their first Christmas. So we thought of organizing a Christmas decoration competition to get maximum involvement from students on campus so that it can motivate and help different students in different ways. And we are also planning to give winter tips to students weekly or twice a month to how to stay in this harsh climate and go on with the usual life. So yeah, the main campaign, what I'm doing, starts with the Christmas decoration competition, which is going to take place next month, just before Christmas. And as Vinny told, we're also planning to provide free hot chocolate in front of Hamilton Center if it works out. So yeah, that's it. Any questions?
That was quite precise too. Any questions for Aaron? Guys, ask some questions. This is your chance. Oh, how much I miss Sean. anyways, since there are no questions for you, I'd like to ask you one. Yes. So, how are you ensuring international students who are studying from their home that they are getting a good educational experience, the virtual experience?
We ensure, and yeah, I forgot to mention one thing. We are also planning to do a Zoom meeting with maximum international students soon, and to know what their problems and what they want during this winter break. For example, if they want to do any activities or learn any instrument, I can get volunteers. I myself can be a volunteer to teach piano, and ensuring the academics, yeah, the Zoom meeting, and yeah, we're gonna ask them for feedback and how is it going.
Fair enough.
So I have a question. How do you analyze that? What is the main problem international students are facing? Because it will not be, I think, will not be possible to have too many students and their views if we conduct a Zoom meeting.
Sorry, can you repeat?
So how do you analyze that? What is the main problem these days the international students are facing? What is the communication channel you are using?
So right now we're not using any communication channel, and that's why we are hosting a Zoom meeting with most of the international students so that they have all the right to talk on that meeting and tell me what they want and like what are their problems and what they want to do during this break. So that's a platform we're going to use to ask the students what they're facing.
How are you going to promote that Zoom meeting?
Zoom meeting will be sent on all the international students' email.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Any other question for international officer?
So do you have any other campaigns apart from that for the international students?
Yeah, this is just the my main project is maximum involvement, and this is just the starting part of it, which starts with the Christmas decoration competition. And next semester there's going to be a lot of events, hopefully, if COVID is not there. And one of my campaign is One World Week, which hopefully will be held at the end of February or March, which is a week of events of different cultures and week of cultural events, sports events, etc. The
So
week's
it's
completely going to be focused on different types of international events based on different countries.
all right. So if the COVID stays, do you have any plans to
If the
work on?
COVID stays, as I mentioned, my plan was completely different in the starting, and I had to come to a virtual planning again. But let's see, hopefully, for now, this is my plan for Christmas, but hopefully by December, according to the situation, I'll be confirming what I'm going to do. Because we can't confirm anything right now. Because if COVID stays, it's all going to be virtual, different virtual events.
Could I ask, so over Christmas time, like for involvement from international students and all of that, like, have you thought of a way of getting international students to share how they're spending their Christmas?
Yeah,
I
so
feel
we also thought of taking a video of getting volunteers of students and taking a video of a brief of how their life is on campus and post it on the Instagram. But we're just finding some people who are ready to do that.
yeah, or even like how, like, because like international students who haven't come over to the UK yet because they just decided to stay at home, and maybe see how to get them involved, because I know with the time differences as well, it's quite difficult for like certain lectures and stuff like occur at some of these random times, and they get they're having to get up like really early, or like it's like 10
Yeah.
o'clock at night and they're like still doing the lectures and stuff, and how are you going to get them involved?
So my main aim right now is to concentrate on students who are on campus who is away from home at the situation. But yeah, hopefully by Jan everyone's gonna come back. But this is my main focus right now. People who are on campus. Thank you.
All right. Now, with that, we'll move on to Olivia.
Hi everyone.
Okay, I think, sorry, Olivia. I think, sorry to interrupt. I think Winnie has some questions.
Olivia, I'm so sorry. Just to get back to your point, I think that's really a good idea that she suggested to get people involved that are abroad, and maybe we could do a video of telling students to send us how they're celebrating Christmas around the world, so where they're from. This could be something we can actually work on. We do have a video that we're working on that we're asking students to tell what Christmas is to them. But maybe we can look into a video where we can ask students to send how they're celebrating Christmas around the world. That's something we could look into, but that's a very great idea. Thank you.
Or even like what religious event like they're celebrating around Christmas, because I know like certain people don't celebrate Christmas, but they do have other traditions which they have around that time, and maybe like enhance some of those aspects of, look, I may not be celebrating Christmas, but this is my holiday activity which I'm doing.
Maybe how you're celebrating your holiday could be the thing rather than how you're celebrating Christmas. But yeah, that's something we can definitely look into. Thank you.
Thank you, Winnie. So yeah, sorry, Olivia, now you can.
Yeah, just an update. Basically my deaf awareness campaign has moved on slightly. So we got a definite quote from the provider that I've been looking into. With all that information has now been forwarded to Beck, who will be organising going forward training for the union staff. So that's still in the works. And the only other thing to mention is really I also have my inclusion group couple of weeks ago now, and we, to hopefully boost the deaf awareness campaign, we agreed on doing weekly videos in sign language to teach students a new sign every week. I have done the first video, so we're waiting for that to go up, and hopefully expanding on that at some point, and hopefully including student activities and sports clubs and societies at whatever point they feel they would like to join, and either learn a sign and then post that out to their following. So hopefully we'll be able to collaborate on that at some point. And I think that's about it. Any questions?
Thank you, Olivia. Any questions for Olivia?
How do you think you're going to make it something which doesn't seem as, trying to think how to phrase it. How are you going to make it so it seems like a fun activity and like going like, oh no, I learned hello, how are you in sign language, rather than like something that like have it so it's something that everybody notices, rather than just have people who are like specifically interested in see it?
I think it's more a case of, obviously, if people want to learn it, then they can, and it'll be on social media platforms so that people can see it, and hopefully it will pique their interest. And obviously, hopefully getting the sports clubs and societies involved it will hopefully get people more normalized to that sort of communication and know that actually it's a universal form of communication, in the sense of not necessarily globally and with other languages, but more a case of in the UK you can use sign language without being deaf. So you can use it to communicate when you haven't got the ability to do verbal communication, such as in a large group or in a big sporting activity. It will just sometimes make it easier for people, and possibly people with social anxiety, etc., who are quite nervous and they don't want to say the first verbal communication, they can do it visually to help people.
All right. Any other questions for Olivia? I see the crowd is quite dead. Guys, ask some questions.
Sorry, not a question, maybe just a little bit more piece of information. The inclusion and diversity person from the university, because I can't mention names and I don't really know her title. Anyway, someone just emailed me this week about getting students involved in learning sign language, because it was something I and Olivia have been like kind of talking back and forth, because I thought it was quite a good idea to get it done in the language center as a language, because as some of you know, like at Brunel you can learn a language for free. Like I did Italian in my first, and you can do it just for free, and I thought British Sign Language would be a good addition. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get it done yet, but there's conversations happening, and I think that's a lot of progress, and it's a lot because of the conversations Olivia's been having with Henrietta, and backs and forwards and like in the background. So I think that's something that's quite cool, that's been happening. And we do have a lot of traction from clubs and societies and people, because when we posted it on our Instagram back in June or August, when I kind of first was like, oh, brain, this is what I'm thinking. A lot of students were like, well, we're very interested if this was an option to do it side by side with our degree. So there's definitely the uptake for it. So hopefully, like, it is a very cool thing that we should be pushing for, and hopefully it gets done. Sorry, Olivia, did I?
Don't worry, it's fine. You just added a bit in there, it was helpful.
Yeah. Sorry, Khadija, it wasn't a question, it was just more information.
No, it's fine. Thank you for elaborating on Olivia's part. I would like to ask your question, Olivia. So what are you doing to ensure that the university is providing an accessible educational experience in terms of the pandemic situation?
I personally haven't been working a lot on that. I haven't focused much on that, I will be honest. And I think, I will be honest, there hasn't been a lot of contact or communication with me regarding that. And so I think I did raise points early on about how everything was going to be delivered. And I felt that quite a lot of that met accessibility requirements. So the requirement of showing your face, having the video on so you can watch it back if necessary. And obviously we still have the student support services available, and there is always my contact if necessary, so we can coordinate that if there were any problems. But so far I haven't had many issues at all regarding that subject.
All right, thank you. Any comments, any question, guys? With all your cameras off, are you guys there or not? Trying to make sure. Well, with that, our officer's accountability comes to an end. Bex, is there anything you would like to add?
There is, if you just bear with me, I have to scroll back through the chat for the exact comment that was sent to me, so that I get this right, mostly. Wow, there's a lot of messages. I should have copied and pasted it when I saw it. Okay, so I just had it mentioned to me that it would be worth letting you know that a asymptomatic testing centre will be being set up in the Hamilton Centre for students to get a COVID test. And it should be ready for Monday, and booking for it opens tomorrow. The university is going to be releasing a press statement on it. But it's part of, I'm sure you've seen the government news stories on trying to get students tested. So it's all part of that process so that you can get yourself tested before you go home. So it's different. But Vinny is probably going to have way more information than me because she sits on the meeting.
Just a reminder that this test is not for anyone that has been tested positive in the last 90 days. So if you are tested positive in the last 90 days, this test is useless. You'll be tested positive. So do not get this test if you're tested positive in the last 90 days. And also, this is not the test that you can like if you're traveling abroad internationally to your country and you need to submit a certificate, this is not the test that you can submit. So you need to look at the guidelines of your travel and what kind of test your country requires for you to get before you travel. And if anyone has any questions regarding your travel, please come for the Q&A on Wednesday next week. What's the date? Just a second. 2nd December. So 2nd December, 1 o'clock, we have Q&A with the university, and there will be a detailed conversation about travel, testing, and all of that. So if you have any questions, any queries, I really advise you guys to come to that. But if you want answers beforehand, don't feel free to contact any one of us or me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions because I know travel is a very stressful thing at the moment. So feel free to contact us. But yeah, just want to add that.
Thank you.
And my final reminder is for those of you that are student assembly members in the room. Those of you that aren't, I'd just like to point out you can come to student assembly. You just need to sign up on the event on the website so that I send you the invites. But the next student assembly meeting is scheduled for Thursday the 10th. I have moved it to 6 o'clock as per a discussion we had in the last meeting, and it will only be an hour and a half because the staff have a Christmas party at 7:30. So we're gonna keep it tight. But it's important to note that the motion deadline for that is this Thursday. So if you did want to submit anything to be discussed in that meeting, get it to me by this Thursday. I then read the motions. I edit the motions, I get back to you with what you can do to improve it and some recommendations. So we've got a week to to and throw it, to polish it up, to make it great. But I do at the very least need your skeleton motion by Thursday if it's going to go to that meeting.
Rebecca, hello.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry I couldn't attend the last meeting as I was back in my home country, so I had some issues over here, so I couldn't attend the last 2 meetings.
That's fine. It's just you need to remember that you need to get apologies in if you cannot attend at least 48 hours prior to a meeting. Our rules are very, very strict when it comes to meetings within our bylaws, and anyone that doesn't attend 3 meetings in a year without sending apologies that are accepted, then you risk being deemed to have resigned. So it's just really important, if you cannot come to a meeting, you make sure that you are giving us an advance notice of your apologies. And a lot of this is because if half of you can't come, we schedule a meeting, half of you turn up, but it's not enough to be quorum, everyone sits in a room and gets agitated for 20 minutes before we just have to call the meeting off. So it's more just so that if for whatever reason the majority of people can't make it, we can at least cancel the meeting and reschedule it for another date where people can.
Yes.
But that's it from me, Chair. So do your thing.
Can I just quickly ask, you know the motions which are set to lapse, do we have to rewrite them, or do we just say, look, we want, I want to discuss the motions that are going to lapse, like, can we bring them back up?
So if there's any of the ones that you're particularly interested in, let me know and I'll tell you what's best. So Jade is already doing the gender neutral one and we'll be resubmitting that. We're currently discussing amongst the executive the BDS motion, which is boycott, divestments and sanctions against the state of Israel. And we are currently discussing the one that's to do with the Prevent initiative.
Fiona? Yeah, would you like to mute? And with that comes an expose. Fiona is not there.
So yeah, so it just depends. So it just depends.
Fiona, 11 बजे तक नहीं खोलना है किसे बोलो.
It just entirely depends what you wanted to submit back to it, but you know it's up to you. If there's something particular that I haven't mentioned, let me know. You can, I would suggest always rewrite it, even if you're just using it as a skeleton. Rewrite it so that you can make sure it's up to date and relevant. So I think our free education motion is lapsing. So we will no longer support free education. I think it's really important we have some sort of stance on what we believe education should be. It doesn't have to be free. It could be a graduate tax. It could be anything. But, you know, we really ought to have a stance. So there's things like that that definitely need some attention. But we're focusing on a handful of the more complicated ones at the moment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bex. So that's pretty much about the thing. And as Bex says, submit your motions before the end of deadline. I hope in our next meeting we'll have some spice to debate on and it won't be as dead as this one. So please guys do participate. I mean, that's the only reason you guys have been elected. So yeah, make sure you guys participate. Try to keep your cameras on. That would be really nice. Yeah, pretty much that about it. So thank you. Okay, Winnie has something to say. Yeah.
I just wanted to say, guys, all of you have been elected certain way, and some students who are here are definitely engaged, but who are elected, I really request you guys to be engaged with us. I know it's virtual, I know it gets boring, but it's important that you stay engaged with us. You promote the events that we're doing, because there's only so much we can do, and we really want students to engage with what we're doing. And even if you have some good ideas, come to us, bring us those ideas, because we really want to look outside the box, come up with different ideas to engage. And in this time, it's all going to be virtual because of the guidelines. So as long as we have to be virtual, come up with the ideas that you think is going to engage students, and also stay engaged with us. Come to our events, promote our events, follow our pages. Please do that, guys.
Yeah, just make sure you guys make the most out of your position, because you've been elected for a reason. And with that being said, thank you once again. You all are free to go and come up with some spice for next meeting. Yeah, so thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Friends, if you need me, let me know. Goodbye.
I'll send you some chili.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. One spice.
Bye. Want some spice in the meeting.